Welcome to the Elder Observation. I'm your host, Pharaoh El-Aton, and on this episode, once again, you'll be hearing from the Elder Ptah El-Aton as he takes you back down memory lane and gives you some information on what life was like for him growing up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I hope you enjoy.
Okay, I'm just going to speak about certain things that I can recall right after graduating from Wendell Phillips High School in 1965. And it'll kind of give you an idea how I got all involved in blackness, cultural awareness, activism. Well, anyway, after graduating from Wendell Phillips High School, 1967, I attended Wilson Junior College. Wilson Junior College was a college that was located at 67th, or maybe it's 9. It was on 60. No, it was on 70th and Stewart. But the rest of the campus was located at 69th and Stewart, which is the old Teachers College. Today is called the Chicago State University. Well, anyway, Wilson Junior College was an old train station, like it was like a depot. It was located next to some railroad tracks. Well, anyway, a lot of the brothers and sisters that I met in our struggle in the 68, 69, came out of Wilson Junior College. Well, anyway, every day we used to meet at this table. You know, it's like a lunchroom. And the lunchroom, study, whatever you want to call it. Well, that's where I met the brother Don Lee, who I told you in another conversation, who started the Institute of Positive Education. Well, he was a poet, so we used to sit at this table, and he used to, say some of his poetry, and he had little books that he had wrote. Anyway, we had a brother there, we called him the fearless leader. So all of us was like, young and, can be influenced very easily. So we used to talk about blackness all the time, what are we? And this is where I met this brother from Biloxi, Mississippi. His name was Clifton Nunley, who eventually went to Vietnam, but he came back safely, good. Well, anyway, I remember a time, it was in Washington Park, and we was having a renaming of Washington Park. We wanted to name it Malcolm Malik El Shabazz, after Malcolm X. So we all gathered in the park, and there was a bunch of students and so forth. So we are talking, and the people was coming. It was a lot of black people. So it was all centered in the park. And we saw the Washington Monument at I think it was at 51st and South Parkway at that time. It was called South Parkway instead of King Drive. So we said, yeah, we're going to get rid of that statue. So we was real radical, okay? So we in the park having this conversation, and the police, they say, I wasn't there in the park at that point, say the police dropped off some white girls in the park and some sisters, we call them sisters, our black girls or women, kind of roughed them up. So all of a sudden, it was police undercover in the crowd. So they started shooting their guns and people was running around. They wasn't trying to shoot nobody. They was just shooting up in the air, I guess. Well, anyway, it was all right in the park, but they made one mistake and spread outside of the park. All of a sudden, it was out like on King Drive or Washington, not King Drive or South Parkway. So the neighborhood started getting involved. You know, the sisters walking down the street, they didn't know what was going on. All they know, it was black people, and they started throwing stones. Now, I feel sorry for the white people that was coming from work, was riding through the area. All of a sudden, they was getting bricked. Their cars were getting hit. So this one brother, I remember, he started doing martial arts on one of the officers, and they beat him down with clubs. So eventually, a lot of people got arrested. So we wind up at this police station on 48th and I think it was Wabash. It's no longer there. And this police station was really under the commander of a black commander. So we all got locked up, a lot of the students, okay? So for some reason, the fearless leader, we call him, he never was around when people got arrested. So all of a sudden, here he comes to the, police station carrying his briefcase. So we all got outside, and the other people were still locked up, and we started demanding that they let our people go. So this is the only time I can remember that black people was locked up in a Chicago jail and didn't have to go to court. So we was demanding, let our people go. Before you know it, the whole neighborhood was out there. So they had to let us go. Kungas, or African drums, was the first drum or instrument that I started studying. And how I got involved with that, one day, me and my partner was walking down 35th Street across from De La Salle. See, on this side, you had some storefronts, and on the other side was De La Salle High School campus. So we was passing this shop, and we seen African stuff all into the window and so forth. And it looked like a village inside, So being curious, and we knocked on. And so this brother opened the door, and we found out his name was El-Aton, Baba El-Aton, that's what we called him. Well, anyway, he let us come in, and there was another brother there who was playing drums and so forth, and we started coming every day, and he taught us about Yoruba rhythms, and eventually on Fridays we started coming often, and I learned how to play certain Yoruba drum rhythms, and it was some women there too, black women and girls, and they started learning the dances and so forth. So we had a regular Yoruba, gathering. So we'll play drums all night and really get into it to the point where we were really feeling it. Okay, and eventually, I told you in the other filming that I met Mrs. Burrow, and how we met Mrs. Burrow, this brother that went to Dunbar Vocational High School. I had two brothers. One brother, when I say brother, not blood brother, but brother in the struggle. Okay, so he got introduced to Mrs. Burroughs. So she let us practice in the basement. And when I told you before, when she went to Africa, we put up a little money, for her to bring back some, a garment and a drum. Okay, well, she brought me what they call a Yoruba talking drum. It was one of these drums that got hide on both sides and got strings running through it. You put it under your arms, and it's a little stick. You squeeze it, do-do-do, do-do-do. That's the way you play it. So then she brought me a dashiki, And speaking of dashikis, the brother, what's his name? We call him Ogun, which is the god of thunder. Ogun. When it's thunder, we say Ogun. Okay, anyway, Ogun got into, sewing and so forth. He was a brother, Ogun, but he liked to sew. So all of a sudden, one day he came and said, look what I made. So he had cut out a dashiki style out of regular material, and it was like a dashiki. So he started making dashikis for us. So after getting all into the music and so forth, we started getting popular where I told you before, Mrs. Burroughs asked us to play for a benefit. She'll bring out the drums that she had brought from Africa for us to play. So we was like playing at places like the Lewis Theater from the beginning to raise funds. And we all wore Stacey Adams. And the name of our group was the Black Spirits. So it was like the brother Ogun, it was Jaro, it was me, and Ishur, and it was Isaiah. I can't think of his name, but one more brother. It was 5 of us. So it was like, one brother was real tall, I can't think of his name. Well, anyway, so we played, and we made a little money for the concert, for the museum, which was called the Sabo African American Museum, which I told you before was located 39th and Michigan. And I think across the street was the whole house. These were like stone brick buildings, like 3 stories. And Mrs. Burroughs had artifacts of African culture on each level, like first floor, second floor, boom. We practiced in the basement. I'll give you an example one time when I had my African cane that she had brought from Africa. Okay, I'm walking down the street. It's a cane wrapped in a gazelle or something. It was like hide. So I'm walking down the street on 61st, I think it was South Parkway. These are the old days around, like I say, 67, 68. All of a sudden, I'm wearing my African, garments I had made, my African cane. All of a sudden, the squad car pulled up and say, what's your name? Ola. Ola what? Ola Daly. At that time, I adopted the name Ola Daly. That's what the brother in the shop named me, and different brothers that hung there. Yeah, they pulled up on me because I was walking down, South Parkway with my African cane, because, I'm proud, I'm black, did. Okay, all of a sudden, these black officers got me in the car, because I wouldn't give them the name they wanted. I said, what's your name? Ola Daly. Ola Daly Shube. So they put me in the squad car in between 2 officers in the back and there was one driving. So they asked me again, what's your name? Ola Daly. They started doing that, So they couldn't do nothing to me. I hadn't committed no crime. So they let me out and took my cane, and that was it. That's the last time I seen it. But what I was on my way to the new shop that we had on around, 61st Street. 61st and Prairie. And it was the African shop. It was bigger then, So what we used to do, on Friday, you come and they'll lock the doors, And the inside, it was like we had dead grass, and there was like a hut built inside the shop. So when you didn't get there at a certain time, they locked the door. So we'll be in there playing music, and we had some sisters that was connected with the shop then. So we'll be drinking rum and smoking cigars. And we be playing, and we be playing so much that the sisters start, just with the spirit falling all out, and we just be gone playing. Cause hey, we are in Africa now. We done went all the way back. We felt the spirit. All I can tell you that we listened to his records. The experience was like I was shocked. Because during that time, a whole lot of things was happening. People was getting killed all the time. But how I got really into Malcolm X, when I was on 35th Street, I used to live on Calumet, 32nd. And my partner that was with the group, he stayed across from the fire station. And upstairs, we used to listen to jazz. See, we was like a new level of young people, where if we wanted to listen to some rhythm and blues, we always went out. We went out to clubs and stuff. But we called it revolutionary work, where, we'll gather at the Brothers Square, go up on the third floor. It's like the attic way up there, because his mother never went up there. So we'll be smoking a little grass and drinking Chianti wine and playing some jazz. And his brother that stayed up there with his wife, he knew how to fix the box, make it, all kinds of sound. Vibraphone, we used to make all kinds of sound. So we'd be up there talking and drinking wine, and listen to Malcolm X Speaks, and Malcolm X, The Bullet Next Time, or whatever, there's different albums. So we'll be discussing it, what we gonna do, what's happening tomorrow. But we always made sure we put in our time, our revolutionary time. That means being an activist out there in the field. Okay, when Martin Luther King was killed, like I say, it was so many black people getting taken off. Then you had Kennedy and different things. I wasn't shocked about nothing was happening in America. You had the Vietnam War, all kinds of things happening. Well, anyway, we was on the south side. And one thing about it, the west side, when he was killed, it erupted. They started burning up the west side. And I'll never forget what Mayor Daley Sr. said. He was so, upset that he said, shoot to kill, because they was burning up his town. Burning up, he said, yeah, shoot to kill, Now the south side, it didn't really riot, because, the south side, I always thought they had it a little bit better. But of course, I knew this west side and the south side. During my time, we didn't have no sides. All sides was the black community, And by being involved with the Cosmic Messengers, a group that I was playing with later, half of the members was on the west side, the rest of them was on the south side. So that's how I got to know the west side real good. Because when you came over on the west side, you was under the care and protection of the brothers on the west side. And when they came to the south side, it was the same thing. So, you go over to the west side right now, they still kind of regroup from the riot after Martin Luther King was killed. I knew that the regular earthlings, the people that was born on this earth, didn't build the pyramids, which was seen to be impossible. So I believe that it was aliens from another world or from the cosmos, that came and gave them the knowledge and how to build it, but they didn't build it with the normal tools and pulling ropes and slaves. I believe they had some other kind of knowledge, some cosmic wisdom in order to deal with that. During my time, we was like reading everything that we can get our hands on when it comes to Egypt, and the history of Egypt, and that included books that are not just based on Egypt, but what they call the occult. Where we studied astral projection. We studied treatises on cosmic fire. These are various books, which I believe that by me studying these various books, like the Bhagavad Gita, I think that's what they call it, it helped enhance my wisdom and knowledge about worldly things and cosmic things. I believe it's something too when they read about the Bible, when they say the angels came down and they intermingled with the women of earth, because they found them so beautiful. And I do believe that beings from another world, or angels, I call them angelic beings that came here, they help improve, mankind on this earth, because originally, it's not too long ago that they was running around, very primitive. So how all of a sudden they building pyramids? If I was talking to black people worldwide, I would tell them to study everything, read everything, and get as much knowledge as you can. Knowledge of this existence and beyond this existence. And don't just look for information from earth. Go to yourself, inner self, because I believe that within us, everything is knowledgeable that we can use to enhance our progression. And we need to unify and stop thinking in terms of my block, my hood, because there ain't but one hood, the big hood.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification button. And remember that health is wealth, so take care of yourself.